Hey guys, what's going on? Paul here, and back with our usual Wednesday night live stream. Paddy has abandoned me this week. He's been struck down with a very serious illness called man flu. I think I have a message there from him somewhere. I'll find in a minute. But great to be joined by Pete today. Peter, most people here are going to be familiar with him. Learn Cardano. Very welcome, Pete. Great to have you with us, or with me this week.
Yeah, awesome to finally make this happen as well. It's a time zone thing. It's when you actually do them as well. But finally we're here. We're doing this, and we'll make it a more regular thing too.
Yeah, definitely. And maybe we'll be able to find a better time zone. We're trying to stick with these Wednesday night ones. It keeps me and Paddy both on point if we're doing it at the same time every week. So episode 15 now. I think we're 14 weeks in a row this year. One was before Christmas, but we'll definitely have to find a better time because it's 6 a.m. for you right now, 9 p.m. at night for me.
I'm used to it now. I'm in Australia, and there's only 25 million people here, and my time zone, it's just terrible for people. But this time right now crosses over with the US, with Europe, and a couple of people in Asia are still awake. But it works. It works for most people.
Yeah, it's hard to get it right. I have two sisters living in Australia actually, so if we're ever trying to get a call with my kids and their kids, it's hard to line up the time that fits between bedtimes and everything like that. But for just in case there's anyone watching that isn't familiar with yourself, can you give the intro? Anyone coming in, please do share the video out here. The more people we get in, the better involvement, questions we can get, and any questions you have, do leave them in the comments down below. So Pete, I'll let you give the intro.
Sure. So I jumped into Cardano, I think back in 2017, 2018, and bought in around that time, but wasn't much into the tech, more so into the trading, like a lot of people were. But as soon as the whole DeFi boom there and everything started crashing and turned into crypto winter, I pretty much left the whole crypto industry. Some of my friends kept on going and built a really awesome, amazing trading bot and whatnot, but I left. But I came back in about 2020, late 2020, when staking was coming back, and there was a sudden resurgence of everything. And I started looking into Cardano a little bit more, and looking into all these other protocols actually, just to find out something that I could get into and be a part of, as opposed to just trading this time. And Cardano just fit all those, ticked all those boxes, and seemed really interesting. So that's when I started the deep dive, became a stake pool operator a little bit after that. Found out that stake pool operations were also deeply entrenched with marketing and promoting yourself. But luckily, I been running a web agency for the last 10, 15 years or so. And having all that experience in digital marketing and development just really helped promote the stake pool. And here we are now. I started a YouTube channel, audio podcast, and been going strong for just over 2 years now. So it's been quite a deep dive into the industry, into Cardano itself, and learning everything and embracing the community here.
Yeah, I don't know how you get so much content out. It's crazy how much work you must put in behind the scenes because I know when you want to put something out, it's not just click the record button, the 20-minute clip that goes out on YouTube. There's probably a few hours behind every video like that goes out. So it's
Oh yeah,
I appreciate all the updates that you put out there.
oh yeah. You know the pain sometimes. I remember once I put out a video where well, I was recording on OBS, but then I hit the live stream button by accident. So there I am, like live streaming, and I'm doing all of my mistakes, all of the pulling my hair out, redoing a take over and over again. And then suddenly I look at my comments on Twitter, just take a little bit of a break, and people saying, Pete, you're live. Do you know you're live? Then I look at the YouTube comments and go, oh, come on, Pete, third time lucky, you can do it. But you record like that, and then you go through and do the edits. Some episodes would take me 9 hours to do. Like in the early days, 9-12 hours was common. It's just the research you have to do, learning a brand new topic, and especially when you're just diving into Cardano for the first time, it does take a long time to absorb all the information. So yeah, I'm getting better these days, but still takes time. You know how much time it takes.
Oh yeah, I've done that as well. Last year at one point I was in OBS, and the way I do it is I would record the screen in OBS, but I clicked the stream button at one point rather than record. Didn't realize, and 10 minutes into it, I seen my Telegram was going mad, because normally I close off all of that stuff when I'm recording to stop them popping up and seeing on my phone, and I was like, oh shit. And like that, I had my start, stop, going back to the beginning, starting again, because if I start stumbling over my words, which happens a lot, it's when you put the content out, it looks like it flows smoothly, but there's a lot of takes in that, and normally I just go back to the beginning again and try and get it straight through rather than having to cut bits out. It's easier on the editing, so people seen that side of it, and thankfully got a good laugh at it anyway.
Yeah. At least people laugh. You know, you still get the support. If anything, it works the algorithm a little bit better, right?
Yeah, I think it showed people that you're normal. You're just trying to get the content out there, and it doesn't go smoothly all the time. So let's see what we have. Where have we got? Who have we got? We have Slovenia. We have Luxembourg. We have France. Roki, another one that's here every week. We have Germany. We have anyone else, any other countries that we've missed? Let us know. We have Ireland and Australia on camera here. CEO says, staked a lot of ADA with Paul. Asked him a question on Discord, no reply. I didn't see the question. I'll check Discord after that. After this Discord, I don't check all that often. But sorry if I have missed something. I'll check it out after this. Alex, another weekly here every week, and all is getting involved. I do appreciate it. Indigo TVL up 7.97% this week. Jed up 4.54%. Another week of growth. Yeah, great to see week on week at the minute. Things are growing. DeFi starting to grow every week as well in percentages. We might take a quick look at DeFi Llama in another bit. Croatia here as well. Welcome. Wexford in Ireland, nice part of the country down southeast. And actually, while we're on this, on Ireland, do I have Paddy's message here? So Paddy and his man flu, he sent me this that I can put up here. So I think everyone should see it now. Hey all, Paddy here. My deepest apologies for missing the Cardano crack 12th of April 2023. I'm unwell at the moment with the man flu. As most of you might know, this is a very serious and unpleasant illness, which you would not wish upon your worst enemy. I do hope to be back to health by next week's show, but we never know with this illness. All the best, Paddy. So everyone wish Paddy all the best in his recovery from the very serious man flu. But now that all the intro and everything is through, your thoughts on Cardano, Pete, on where we are now, kind of potential of you got involved and you went deeper into it, obviously for a reason. How do you think we're doing right now versus where we can go?
It has taken a long time to get to this point. This is the point that I was waiting for in terms of why I got into Cardano. Like seeing Ethereum years ago bring out smart contracts and then have that run up to their DeFi summer in 2020, and watching platforms like Uniswap grow and explode, and people really getting behind DeFi in general. I feel that's where Cardano is right now, and I really feel like history is going to repeat. But on the Cardano blockchain, we're seeing all these projects either have already launched, like we've got 4 major DEXs out there. We're seeing borrowing and lending protocols just starting to launch now, and a few more projects just in the pipeline, just waiting to get out the gates. So I really feel like right now is an explosion of DeFi on Cardano, and I'm really excited about it. So that's where I'm seeing everything. Everything is kind of reflected in the TVL at the moment as well. And you can see the slight and slow migration and moving from just staking your ADA and moving it over to smart contracts and participating in DeFi now. So in general, super excited. But like in some of the comments, we do need liquidity on the Cardano blockchain. We need it not just for DeFi, but for the NFT marketplaces as well. NFT liquidity is kind of drying up and losing interest there as well. So, you know, people trying to launch on that side of the ecosystem are essentially drowning without the liquidity. So hence, so many of them going cross-chain.
Yeah, I agree. It's when we got version 1 of smart contracts in September 2021, but at that point what we got wasn't really enough for DeFi, or DeFi as we have seen it on other chains. There wasn't enough there for DeFi dApps to really launch. And unfortunately, it was only when we got smart contracts that people realized, and even the developers that were building, and we're only starting to see some of the applications or the dApps launch in the last few months that had hoped to launch back then. So I think as this current cycle develops, Cardano will be in a lot better position than it was in the last one. The chain was okay at that point, but we're a lot further on at this point. We still do need to look at the likes of scaling and making it easier for developers to build on Cardano as well. It's getting easier from you talk to lots of developers and apps that are building. How do they find it now? Is it getting easier? Is it that just the perception? Like, we see different ways to do smart contracts now. What's your experience there?
It is definitely getting easier. Having spoken to all of these alternative languages or languages to build on top of Plutus, such as Helios, Aiken, Plutus, and Option, I think that's how you pronounce it. But having all these different alternatives now to actually write the Plutus smart contracts is, you know, absolutely amazing. And, you know, I watch videos of Mikkel from Harmonic Labs writing in Plutus, and it just seems so much easier than, you know, how it was. The development experience is easier. You have platforms like dmeter that can spin up all the dependencies that you need. So then, you know, in a couple of clicks, you have your back end. You have like a node running. You can write your smart contracts in Python, and away you go. It's absolutely amazing. And you know, this is what you needed when smart contracts launched back in 2021. If any of this was available back then, would have made a huge difference, and the rapid development would have happened a lot quicker. But as I've spoken with many other people, this is all brand new tech. We're bringing a brand new paradigm. So I think Marvin from Genius Sealed said it best. This is what he said. He said, like, you know, this is all brand new stuff, brand new technology. We're bringing brand new ideas, concepts, and different ways of doing things, and doing them better than what they previously have been doing in the DeFi space. So, you know, we have to build all these tools properly. It does take time. Fortunately for us, it's taken like an extra 1.5 years. But, you know, we're here at the moment. This is the time where the dev tooling, the brand new PABs out, and everything else is ready and poised to build and make things a lot easier. It's at the point where I'm going to try and write a smart contract now. So, you know, if I get one out, then we know that it's the space is easy enough to get into.
Nice. Yeah, it definitely is great to see a lot of the development tools coming out over the last while, because even outside, once you go outside of the, I suppose, the core circle within Cardano, people still say you need to know Haskell to be able to build anything on Cardano. But as you go deeper down and you start to see all of the tools that are coming out there, and especially the guys that are building these tool sets or developer toolkits and open sourcing them and allowing anyone else to come in and use them, that's really going to help innovation on Cardano and allow more dApps to build, because it has been extremely expensive up to this point to build on Cardano, because there has only been a small subset of developers that have actually been able to build smart contracts. Like, I think M Labs have been very involved with a lot of different projects helping them out. And there's a few other ones there too, but M Labs is a name that comes up a lot. And it's good to see other people coming in now and building there. But getting into it then, I suppose, on the topic of building, and anyone with questions at any point, just throw them into the chat. We have a few different topics that we'll go through here, but at any point, if you want to pull us into a different direction, just put the comments down below. One thing that came up over the last week, let me share my screen here, was the stuff on MELD saying about the Cardano transaction issue, and IOG have come out and said they're looking into it too. So let me make this a bit bigger. There we go. I think everyone should be able to see that. So I've covered this in other videos, but just for anyone who hasn't seen it, or maybe people in the comments might have more theories or ideas on what the issue is, because there's lots of people talking about it could be this and it could be that, but nobody actually knows, or I haven't seen anything public yet on what they're talking about this is. But high level, anyone who hasn't seen it, MELD have said that there is an issue with the way transaction processing is handled on Cardano and how it impacts the MELD protocol, that it might disrupt parts of MELD's protocol, and security of user assets is basically the biggest thing for them, that they don't want to launch anything that they can't be confident of user assets. Now, one of the most common ones out there seems to be in around that liquidations is one that a lot of people talk about, and I talked about last week, that potentially this is an issue, and it's to do with if a liquidation happens or needs to happen on the platform. So someone takes a loan out on MELD, so they put up their collateral and then they take out their loan. When the amount of collateral they have put up, when the percentage of that versus what they have taken out the loan, when they start to get fairly close, then the loan needs to get liquidated. So they need to sell off the collateral that you have put up in order to get back whatever funds that you have loaned out. So say you put up ADA as collateral, you put up $110 or $120 in ADA as your collateral, you lend out $100 in JED. If the price of ADA starts to drop, they need to sell off the ADA to get enough back to repay your JED loan. But on Cardano, there is no prioritizing transactions, which is a good thing and a bad thing. Cardano works with FIFO, first in, first out processing of transactions. So the first transactions to come in are the first ones that get processed, which is great if everyone is just sending normal transactions over and back. But when you start to look at DeFi and start to bring in dApps that need to know that when they submit a transaction, that it gets included in the next block and gets executed as quickly as possible, because missing out on one block could be very big in terms of the price if the price of a token is dropping. I don't know, Pete, if you've heard anything else on what this could potentially be or thoughts on that.
No, I have not heard any insights into what it might be at all. So it's all pure speculation at the moment. And I guess that's because they don't want people potentially exploiting other protocols if this is a serious issue that could be exploited in other protocols as well. So no, I haven't heard much about this one at all.
Yeah, I looked into IOG. I forgot to bring up the link now, but IOG put out a post, I think in 2021, about a fee market. Like Ethereum is a fee market. So whoever pays the most, their transactions get processed first. So the richest people are able to get their transactions in. So that's why you see different bots that are there sometimes, and they're able to get their trades in ahead of other people. They can see trades in the queue and get theirs in first and make profit on it. And if things get really busy, we've seen over $100 per Ethereum transaction, kind of not even last year now, but back in the real last bull run, things get very expensive. So I would never like to see Cardano going to a full fee market. I think that's definitely not the route we want to see. But what they talked about with the IOG article was basically splitting up the block. So you would have maybe 50% of the block is for your first in, first out transactions. So that is at the standard fee. So at the minute, it's about 0.17 ADA. So all transactions at that get processed in a first in, first out method. And then there's a percentage of the block that is allocated to a fee market. So whoever pays the higher fee, then their transactions get squeezed into that part of the block. And I think something like that, I know some people don't agree with a fee market, but I think something like that could work as long as there is still the majority of the block assigned to the current way that Cardano works, with not prioritizing someone just because they pay the most. But there are cases where you need to be sure that your transaction gets in. So let dApps pay a higher fee like that. Like input endorsers will really help this, where we're going to get blocks a lot more often, and we need to look at the finality of transactions too. But any thoughts on fee markets?
Yeah, I remember this article coming out, and Sebastian debating about this one as well. Sebastian from DC Spark. I've always been against the idea of a fee market. I really dislike it, especially when massive bidding wars come into play on just trying to get a transaction through. And the poor players, the people that don't have much to participate in DeFi, are the ones that really lose out. I'd love to see more protocols and whatnot use L2s for stuff like this, just to take advantage of, what is capable and possible there. But yeah, a fee market on the main chain, splitting the blocks. Interesting concept. I don't know how that would work. Will the fee market still, if the block isn't entirely used by the fee market side, is it just filled up with regular blocks? There's lots of questions I have just coming from that. So it's an interesting concept, but really don't want to see a fee market on the Cardano side.
Yeah, it's I don't know the technicalities of how they would decide on if the paid version of the block doesn't fill up, what transactions go in. Maybe it works on filling the block up from the most expensive down, and then it goes down to normal transactions come in to fill it up. But this all has to happen within a split second that the transactions get pushed into the block. So it's definitely outside of my technical abilities to figure all that out. But Sebastian, you mentioned there, what they're doing at DC Spark is very interesting as well with MELD ADA and wrapped smart contracts, where you will be able to use your ADA and all of your assets on Cardano on MELD ADA through wrapped smart contracts, and moving to layer 2s and side chains. Going into the future, I think we'll definitely see a lot more of that. And some people give out about it that they don't want to see things moving away from the L1, but not everything needs to run on the layer 1, especially when you need instant finality or a lot quicker confirmation than we can have on Cardano. Because when you have decentralization like Cardano does, you can only ever get so fast. We will never, I can't say we will never get to, but I don't think we will ever get to the sub 1 second finality on transactions like you see on some chains. Most chains that have that are extremely centralized, and they're able to do it because they don't have to spread the transactions out across 3,000 relay, or if you take relays into account, probably 6,000-7,000 relays out there at this point. So there's trade-offs, and I wouldn't like to see us lose the decentralization that we have. There are other solutions out there that can be built in. Let me see, did I miss anything, or if you have anything else to say on that?
No, I think you've covered it all there quite nicely. But yeah, that's why we have the L2s. We can do other cool, unique things on there. But yeah, fee market on the main chain. Personally, don't like it, but maybe people in the comments have opinions about that too.
Yeah, I don't see many comments on the fee market, but I like to hear that I think it's good for people watching that there's slightly different opinions here as well. And like, I wouldn't like to see a full fee market. I don't want people taking this away that Paul said Cardano needs a fee market. I would only be in favor of it if they can work that split in the block, that people paying normal transaction fees can still go through, and potentially people get cheaper transaction fees. If there are people paying higher transaction fees, it could balance out that they could put in even cheaper ones into the block. But let's see what I've missed, and then we'll move on to the next topic. Do you think the ADA BTC price could go back to the 2019 lows? Potentially, the ADA BTC price has lower to fall. In bull markets, generally what happens is Bitcoin takes off first, then all the altcoins suffer. If you follow, I've said this from the start of my channel, was always keep an eye on the ADA BTC price, that it's not just the dollar price you want to look at. You need to make sure that in the longer term, your coin is gaining against Bitcoin. If you're in it for making profit, which most people are in it to make some profit as well. Whether we go to the complete lows, I can't remember what the lows were. We were down under 600 sats maybe, or even lower than that. I'll check that out later in the video when we move over and take a look at some of that. But I think we definitely could fall under 1,000 sats if Bitcoin really started to run right now, because everything else, and it wouldn't just be the ADA price. I think every altcoin out there, Rick's going to kill me for saying altcoin, but every coin out there against Bitcoin would suffer if Bitcoin started to go into a real big bull run. They generally always catch up though, so I wouldn't be too worried about it at this point.
That's the general pattern that you see. You see Bitcoin do its big run up and everyone's jumping on there. And then once everyone gets a little bit tired and wary, it moves to the alts or to Cardano, I should say.
The Bitcoin dominance chart is a good one to keep an eye on that. And it does look like Bitcoin still has a bit of a way to go. I think you could still see more money flowing into Bitcoin. And even outside of crypto, when people come in first, a lot of times they're going to look at Bitcoin as first, and traditionally it's kind of been Bitcoin, and then the money flows out of Bitcoin into Ethereum and some other layer ones. Then it flows out of them and flows into lower down coins then at that point. So you see people that try and time that and but you're never going to time the market perfect. So it's a DCA, always the way to go in a market. And that's right here on the shirt all the time, is that's in and out of a market. I don't pick one point where I'm going to sell everything or one point where I'm going to buy everything. It's always dollar cost average in and out on a market. So this one, curious what you think about teams of protocols that build on Cardano, use own funds, and then make community proposal to pay back retro pay. How does this help shape our ecosystem? I presume this is in around if they fully fund their own project and then look to be paid back out of a treasury or something like that afterwards. I think you have to hand it to any team who will fully fund their own project, get a working product out there, and then look to be paid back after. Then to me, they definitely deserve to be paid back any out-of-pocket expenses, because what they have done is completely against the grain in crypto. You don't really see this that often, where a project is fully funded on its own by the team. Most times there will be some kind of a raise, or there will be NFTs is a popular one now. People sell off NFTs to try and raise funds, or generally it is funded by VC or by community somewhere. So if a team does actually fully build it themselves, then I think they're entitled to request it from the community. Let the community decide then if the product or the dApp that they have built is good enough to be funded back out of the treasury. I would say put it back. As long as the community has a choice in it, then I think it's a viable path. What would you say, Pete?
Yeah, I don't know how this what Gabe's the protocol that Gabe's talking about there, what they actually used the funds for when they got additional funding back from the community, that 15 million or so. But it's interesting what they may use that additional funding for. So yeah, they've out of pocket built everything themselves. But with the additional funding from the community, are they using those funds then to actually build something else for the ecosystem? Like you see a lot of projects in the Cardano ecosystem build something really, really cool and deliver an MVP before asking for any sort of funds, like through an ICO or IDO or whatever. But then the additional funds that they get from maybe Catalyst proposals, they're actually using those funds to build other tooling and other things for the community to use, and open source them as well. So it's bringing more value in, but it all depends on how they go about it. And of course, like the protocol that they build should be making revenue of some sort anyway. So if they built up a DEX and there's fees on there, and they've built their own treasury on the DEX, then it's going to be a self-sustaining ecosystem as it is. And I think those additional funds should be used for extra development and ecosystem building. So that's the way I see it. And if they're just sitting back and just taking the money and going on holidays or whatever, that's totally different. But if they're continuously building and delivering more and building open source tools for the community to build on, that's I think a really good approach.
Yep. On the AVE one, I'm not sure of. I never read into the 15 million retro pay that they took back, so I'm not fully sure on that one. Important message from Owen here to smash the like if you haven't done so yet. We appreciate that. Alex says, how far can the price move in 10 seconds? It depends. If you look back at some of the big crashes that happened in the market, the price can move a lot in. Generally, it wouldn't be just that 10-second, because it could be up to 30 or 40 seconds. If you don't get into that particular block, then it could move a substantial amount. And that's why generally you see protocols, you have to have a fairly decent over collateralization. I think Indigo moved, was it the IUSD pair to 120%, where you have to have 120%. If you don't, then it gets liquidated at that point. And that's just to ensure that there is enough of funds there that if the liquidation has to happen, and it does happen a bit slower, that they can get back the full amount on the loan for whoever is performing the liquidation. Alex says, Bitcoin used to have an allocation in the blocks prioritized for older coins, but they ditched it for the free market fees. So again, Bitcoin has basically whoever pays the most gets prioritized, because the miners will always go in and try and pull out the biggest fees that are there. It's the way it is. They're incentivized. They will get paid the most if they take the ones that are paying the most fees. Roki says, you keep away, it's against principles of crypto and promotes bad human behavior. Wait for AI to be able to handle it, but also 1 million transactions per second should cover it. Yeah, 1 million transactions per second would cover most, and we wouldn't have to worry about a fee market. When we get, I think it's mentioned down here as well, import endorsers. Yeah, and hopefully this is the case. Just input endorsers, how quickly we're going to get them. We do have to have governance in place first, because Charles says it will be a big change to how Cardano works right now, and even how staking and everything works. So the community needs to vote it in. So I don't see input endorsers this year, hopefully next year, but depending on how things go with getting governance in place and then getting input endorsers decided on how it will be implemented, maybe not next year, but that's me guessing. I don't know, Pete, if you heard timelines on input endorsers or anything?
No, I haven't heard any timeline whatsoever. I really thought it was going to come out last year with all of the, scaling capabilities coming out as well. But no, it was not the case. I think still a lot more development is needed. And like you said, governance voting and protocol changes on that level will be voted in by the community. And I guess that's why there's so much push for governance at the moment as well.
Yeah. Right. Let me see if I missed any other comments, and we'll go back to some of the topics we had then. Smash the like. That was your one, saying about import endorsers. Dev, I think we have. Sorry, some of these are a bit older. I'm not sure what they were referencing. Aave on Ethereum, that was the 15 million. Thanks, Jane. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Jane.
Don't know, is that Jane from Twitter or another Jane?
I don't know. Maybe a different Jane. Jane on Twitter is very anonymous, so it's
yeah,
their name there as well. It's probably a different Jane.
Thoughts on AGIX? It's not a token I hold right now. Definitely an ecosystem. I do hold some tokens within the ecosystem, just not AGIX right now. But AI, as we've seen over the last few months, it's crazy what's going on and the advancements we're seeing there. But have you any insights into AGIX?
No, I don't hold any at all either. And each time I look at it, it's usually when everything is all hyped up, and with ChatGPT getting a big boom at the moment, I looked at the price and thought, oh, maybe I can get into it now. It's like, no, not now. Everything's gone right up. It's a bad time to jump in and dip my toes into it. But yeah, stuff from the Singularity Net ecosystem I am into, and those ones, I've delved into and purchased tokens for.
Yeah, someday I might be able to build myself up to try and get Ben on the channel, but I just don't know if I would have the right questions to ask. Seen him and Charles on interviews before, and they're just on a different wavelength to me anyway.
I feel the same. I feel the same. There's many people that I just can't interview because I know I'll just ask the most stupid questions and just look absolutely ridiculous. And so,
It's good to
not
hear
yet.
that I'm not the only one thinking like that.
Well, it took me this long to get onto your channel, just to get to a level where I feel comfortable. So yeah, I can talk with Paul now. I can be on his channel. So yeah,
Oh no,
it took a long time.
we need to do these more often. These kind of more relaxed, laid back kind of talks. So thanks, Proxies NFT. Right, let's see what else we have here to start flying through some of these topics. About 25 minutes left. So that was the MELD one. Another big news this week was Lace Wallet going live. So this is the full expanded view of Lace. You also have it, and the little tab is gone from there, but you have it in the smaller version up here. What's your thoughts on Lace so far? So actually, I'll run through it quickly for people and then we'll talk about it. So tokens, when you come in, you have all your tokens here. This is a wallet that I sent a few tokens to just before this video. I haven't actually put any NFTs into the wallet. You can see the activity. I only sent 10 ADA, and actually, speaking of AGIX ecosystem, you can see I sent a few NewNet tokens there, and I think I sent WMT tokens too. And then you have your staking. So it's a fairly basic functionality in the wallet so far. What's your first impressions?
Yeah, simple, nice, clean wallet, easy user interface as well. So as a alternative to Yoroi, I think it's a very good wallet. So anyone that's entering the ecosystem for the first time, I'll be comfortable with giving them Lace and saying, hey, yeah, try out Lace. It's a nice intro wallet, nice, fast, clean. I've tried to give newbies Eternal and said, this is the Swiss Army knife of wallets in the Cardano ecosystem. They just opened it up, looked at it and went, nah, not for me, and backed out, went back to Yoroi. So, this is a nice alternative. It's another official wallet from, a major ecosystem builder. So it's good to have. And I do like it so far. The fact that it's a single address wallet, I really like as well. The multi-address thing just really, really confuses a lot of people. But, there's pros and cons with all that as well. But the compatibility of Lace with all the dApps and whatnot out there, we'll see how that goes. My team tried to integrate Lace into Cardano Press yesterday, and we're just banging our heads against the wall trying to work out why are things not working as we expect them to. So it's, I think, a little bit different implementations of SIP 30 may be the case, but we'll find out when we put in a support ticket and see what comes back from that.
Okay, yeah. I think it's a nice design overall, nice and clean and easy for someone to come in. As you say, Eternal, it's the wallet I use on a day-to-day basis, but anyone new coming into the ecosystem or even coming in from another chain, they've been in crypto and they come in and they go to use Eternal, they're like, they don't know where to go half the time. It's a fairly complicated wallet. For me, generally, I've stopped telling new people to use it over the last while because now we have Typhoon is a very good wallet. It's not one that I use, but I have tested it out and was really impressed with it. If I was coming in new right now, I think Typhoon or Flint would be the two that I would go towards, especially coming from using MetaMask, which if people are in crypto, a lot of times they have used MetaMask at some point. So both of them wallets are very good. I use Flint on my phone. I think there's a new one come out. I've seen a few people talking about it. Is it Vesper or Ves something?
Yeah. I don't know how it's pronounced, but I did have a look at that one on the weekend as well. I saw Cardano Whale tweeting about it, so I thought I'll check it out. So, if he's using it and, it's got his seed phrase in there, then, I'll give it a go. But, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't tested it out like that. I think it must have been Ada Whale I seen talking about it, but I still would be pushing people towards that. I don't think Lace is ready just yet. It's a nice wallet, but even being able to have multiple accounts in the same wallet, even under the same seed phrase, you mentioned there that it uses single address, which is good, but it's also single wallet. So I can only have one wallet in this, where in Eternal or even Typhoon or Flint, you can have multiple different, I never know what the right terminology to use here, but under one seed phrase, you could have multiple different accounts, which I really like that feature. And hopefully we see Lace bringing that in. Keeping it as a single address is a good idea, but then you would have one address for each account. I think that would be a nice next step. And once they would have something like that, I think then I would be more inclined to recommend it for people, because I always say, get a hardware wallet. If you have any decent amount of crypto at all, try and get a hardware wallet. Have the majority of your crypto on a hardware wallet that you don't take out every day, and then have a hot wallet. So that's just one that's created with a seed phrase. So you would have that and have a small few tokens in that, or something that you do on a day-to-day basis, have some of the assets in that, and then have anything that's a longer term hold, have that in your hardware wallet. So once Lace has that you can have the multiple accounts, I think it becomes a lot more useful then.
Yeah, I've heard some potential new features coming into Lace as well, such as multi-pool delegation, multi accounts, and all those things as well. So we'll see those in time. It's just takes time to develop these things, go through UX testing, and make sure everything's really good and easy for users to actually play around with. But it will come in time, I believe. So just sit back, wait, see what the ecosystem brings.
Impatient, I need it now.
I know. Just to go back a little bit on Eternal, I know Marcel and the team there are working on their V2 of Eternal, and that is a completely brand new reskin of everything, where the user interface has a pro and an easy mode. So, of course, you get the easy mode first, and that's a real clean, simplified version of the wallet where you don't see all the bells and whistles that we've all come accustomed to.
Yeah, I think that will be a really good feature, that you can have both versions. So you can recommend it then for the new user coming in, be a similar experience to MetaMask, just because that's the standard that a lot of people are used to. But then you can expand it out once people need some of the more complex features that can be done. What else?
And Lace also does have that little like mini wallet thing that Typhon and Flint has as well. So if you click on that little
it is
icon,
preparing from here now. Yeah, so you have this here, nice clean interface.
Yeah, I don't think it pops up on the screen share, but you do have that extra. Yeah,
it's
the extra.
Not showing up for everyone else, but it's showing for me when I click the button here. But in the screen share here, it only shares the actual browser. But again, you can show it in the video. I think you might have covered Lace today, did you?
Yeah, just briefly, just a couple of comments about it, and then comments about the multi-sig, multi-wallet address compared to the single addresses, and the pros and cons of that. So there were some cons in around removing multi-addresses, and it just makes it a little bit more difficult, or you take away a couple of features that dApps could take advantage of. But it's pros and cons around that. So now dApps have to develop for single address wallets and multi-address wallets. So good luck to them.
I have all of mine changed to single address, even for tracking, trying to use them in different portfolio managers. It's far easier when everything's on one address. But moving along then to some of the different topics, TVL. So looking at TVL for the last 7 days for different projects, you can see Liqwid Finance is in at up 47%. Now the token price of LQ has dropped a lot, and we're going to cover that in a minute. But in general, it's good to see different protocols jumping up here. Fluid tokens up 28%. TVL overall is still small there, but in general, it's still good to see it growing. Indigo, fairly decent TVL now at 27 million. I think that puts them number 2 overall on Cardano. If we look at TVL overall, MinSwap still dominating there. He has to be the number 1 DEX on Cardano right now. We're going to talk about some of the other ones in a minute. It's hard to see anyone knocking MinSwap off number 1 now, because they're a team that just continue bringing out sometimes just small little features, small little usability things to the DEX, and really haven't stopped working since day 1, since they come out. So great to see it. And Indigo then in at number 2, and then Wingriders, which is 1 year anniversary. Do I have? There we go. So Wingriders 1 year anniversary. So they launched 1 year ago today, or yesterday, I think, maybe was it?
Well, yesterday for me, but today for you still, just barely.
I'm just writing down timestamps here because it's something that I always forget to do.
Yeah. But yeah, congratulations to Wingriders for celebrating 1 year of live on mainnet, and it's been quite a good year for them as well. I just did an interview with Conan as well, and I think you've got one coming up.
Yeah, I have one coming out tomorrow. And as we're running shorter on time here, I'm not even going to go any deeper into this here, but we can refer them to your interview and then my one on top of that, just so we can cover a few more topics. So Liqwid was another one that was there showing up for the last 7 days. The TVL, what was it, up 49%. But when you look at
crazy.
The LQ price, it's absolutely tanked. And the biggest reason for that, so overall, the price hadn't been doing well lately. And there's a lot of, if you start to look at tap tools, anyone who hasn't seen it, if you follow my videos, there's a good chance you have. Brilliant tool for the Cardano ecosystem for tracking all different prices. And they have had an upgrade this week. Won't get into it now, but for tracking NFTs. So you can track NFTs too. But I really like these here, the volume profiler and distribution, where you can go through the different transactions that are going on, check out who the biggest transactions are. And you start to notice a theme that there was lots of people before the rewards come out were selling off their LQ and moving into ADA Finance, which is another lending and borrowing protocol. And at the minute, they only have peer-to-peer lending and borrowing. So that is, I put up the terms of a loan that I'm willing to give, and Pete or someone else can come in and say, yeah, I agree to them, and they will match the other side of that. But they will be bringing out pools, liquidity. I don't know, is there a timeline on that yet? Did you hear anything on that?
No, I haven't heard any timeline on that, but I know they've audited their Aiken version of their smart contract, so it's a matter of soon. It's almost there.
Yeah, it's good to see. And it's good to see competition out there for different protocols. It's when there's only one protocol for each type of DApp out there, then there isn't much of a push for them to continually improve. But when there is new features coming out on other dApps that offer a similar functionality, it's good for us, the community overall, because there's going to be more incentives, more opportunities for us to get involved in. But that was the LQ price. But the big reason for this drop here was the rewards became claimable for the first time. So anyone who was providing liquidity on Liqwid Finance in February, then you were able to claim your rewards, and it was through the Sunday Swap, what Sunday Swap have built and allowed other projects to use. Do I have that one? So the claim, actually, I don't have the tab open on this one here. So for claiming your rewards, you just come in and connect your wallet. You can see this was one of the test accounts I had connected, and I earned 1.3 LQ, and I think I might have only put in 200 ADA or something like that. So the rewards were fairly substantial, coming in at like 185% APR. So a lot of people got a lot of free tokens, and they dumped them straight on the market because it was free ADA. And with the price of LQ falling over the last while, confidence was a bit low there. So a lot of people just dumped off to get the essentially free ADA, because if you were just providing your ADA on this side or some of the other assets, then you were getting your normal APYs here. You were getting ADA, you're getting your staking rewards, plus a little bit extra from people who are maybe borrowing out your ADA. And then they come in with 180 to 200% APR for extra on top of that. And people just got it and sold it out into ADA and made maybe 15, 20% interest for just being involved for 1 month. So they have looked to change that now. At that time in February and March, they were rewarding people for supplying liquidity and for borrowing. But you can see now that there is the second percentage here, and this is what you earn in LQ, but you don't get it on the borrow side now. And there's a little bit of, I think they jumped the gun on doing this a bit too quick. You can see that after reviewing the protocol usage and the resulting APRs, they put out a bit of a temperature test within the forum to see what people thought of changing it. And now from April 11th, they've changed it that the borrowers are the only ones that are going to earn LQ reward, or sorry, no, the suppliers are the only ones that are going to earn rewards, and the borrow side aren't going to get the extra LQ incentive going forward, or at least for now. And if you look at the too many tabs open here, the LQ forum, they did put in this one to update the supplier LQ distribution rate. And if you look down at the votes, there was only 93 votes that decided on this. So I think it was a little bit quick to jump to making such a big change. I would have liked to have seen these percentages added in here first. So they made the change and then added in these percentages. But I think if they had to put these on earlier, it really would have helped balance it out. Because I know if I seen that for taking a loan out of ZED that I could earn 100 or 150% APY, I'd even taken out the loan, even if I didn't want the ZED for anything else. It would have encouraged me and lots of others to start coming in here. But I think it was something like 4,000 people were supplying liquidity, but only 200 and something maybe were borrowers. And each side was getting 50-50 of the LQ rewards. So I can see something needed to change, but I think the market could have fixed itself as well if it had to be let. But any thoughts, Pete?
Yeah, I can see them trying to protect the price of the LQ token, and changing the APYs, of course, is going to really help that. Controlling the supply of the circulating supply of tokens is the name of the game here, to not get those giant dumps. I'm surprised they don't have dynamic APYs that change based on usage, or maybe it is dynamic, but having a bit more of a dynamic way of doing it may have really helped that. So it goes against supply and demand, so it can actually help with the APYs. But I guess it's just the way they do things, or how things are built. So they've just got to go with what they got.
Yeah, I think
liquid money printer go burr.
Yeah,
that's where it
really
is at the
did
moment.
for a lot of people who put in, anyone who put in some decent money in February, then they earned a lot. And even in March, the rewards haven't become claimable yet. But I would expect the LQ price to drop even further when the same amount of rewards get released to users at that point. These ones here are dynamic. So the top ones, this is based on the supply and demand. So however many people are borrowing out on this side, then the APY they can pay on to suppliers is going to be bigger. So the top two are dynamic. I presume these ones are dynamic as well, in terms of it depends on how many people are providing ZED or providing ADA, then these numbers will move up and down as well. But the top ones are definitely on supply and demand. And I'm going to move on to our next topic so we can get a few of them in here. So we covered, I'm going to start closing them. We covered Wingriders. Newm, I'll let you take the lead on this one to tell people what the project is. You recently became an ambassador, so you're in a better position to talk about it than me.
Yeah, I should know what's going on then, shouldn't I? But they've recently launched their record store, and this is like a marketplace, just like any store, but you can jump in on the store and see all of the music artists that they now have going through their platform. So you can buy the NFTs and listen to the music that you're potentially supporting. But one of the really big things that I love about the platform is that decentralized funding of the music rights for all of the artists itself. So one artist might be bringing out a particular track. You could buy tokens to support that production of that particular track, and you own the music royalties of that particular piece of music. But then you can also trade that on a marketplace and trade the rights to it. So it's a really, really interesting play on how the whole music industry can change, and using Web3 technology and blockchain all behind it as well. But a lot of the music that's going through the platform I actually do like as well, and I do support some of the artists there. So I've just been playing around with it, and I've loved the platform and everything that's been built around it before they made me ambassador as well. So it's just a icing on the cake for me to be a part of the project, and being an actual fan of the project too.
Yeah, it's not a project that I have been that deep down into yet. I've had a few messages over and back with the team, and actually got to meet Andrew and some of the other members of the team at the summit last year, which was great in Switzerland. And we said about trying to get on a call to record something. I must follow up on that to try and get a call together to talk about it and dive a bit deeper into it another day. So I'm going to see what other topics we have, because I know you will have to jump off in a few minutes. VyFi, seen this first non-custodial LP staking in crypto. Is this just snapshots of the LP tokens, or how does non-custodial actually, I'll take a step back. When people get involved with a DEX, normally you want to provide liquidity, you have to put up two assets. So say there's an ADA ZED pair, you put up 50-50, half ADA, half ZED into a liquidity pool, and then you get back an LP token. Then you have the option to get involved with yield farming. So if you want to get involved with yield farming, traditionally you deposited that LP token into the smart contract and then you earn yield farming rewards. That would be custodial, where you give away custody of the LP token. What's the difference here with VyFi?
So they're taking the approach of how Cardano works with staking. So you have your ADA in your wallet, and all you need to do is delegate it to a particular pool and you earn the rewards of that. So they're taking a very similar approach to that. So all you have to do now is have your ADA in your wallet. I'm not sure of the mechanics. If you have to say, yes, I am staking or farming my particular tokens in the vault there, but it stays in your wallet as well. So you can still move your LP tokens around. You can trade them possibly as well. Because they do have that mechanism on the bar where technically the LP token is the X VyFi, and you can trade that. So it's a different play on that. It gives you more freedom of movement of everything as well. And they're building in all the aspects around taking the snapshots and recording the rewards around it. So it's all off-chain computation to get that all working.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I had a quick look at the testnet there last week, and I must try and catch up with Stephen fairly soon to have a chat about it and everything that's gone on. Have they talked about when mainnet might happen? Is there any indication of
that? Other than soon? No, I haven't heard anything other than soon. It's I think they're going through the marketing campaign at the moment and going through and releasing all the tweets of all the liquidity pools that they're going to open up, getting all the engagement and excitement up as well. But you know, they're at that point where they need to gain more attention, and that way they can have actually liquidity on the DEX, which is something we might talk about as well.
Yeah, I'm really getting a dislike for that word soon. I'm going to ban it from my streams and from the channel in general. But yeah, just on that, I think it's very hard for especially a DEX on Cardano to come out right now, because we have 4 DEXs out there, with MinSwap being number 1, Wingrider's then number 2. You have, I don't know, it's Muesli Swap or Sunday Swap up next, but they're all well down behind MinSwap. So how does someone come in and disrupt that with the new DEX coming in? So VyFi, they're coming into the market. They are looking for liquidity as well, because they are, as far as I can see, a straight AMM DEX. So that means that they need liquidity, or else trading isn't going to be very good. Like, we see projects will come out and there's one strategy is give massive high yield farming rewards, which will attract some liquidity, but it absolutely kills your token price. So there has to be some balance there. But any thoughts on how projects can break into it? And then if you need to go after that, no worries. I know we're at the hour now.
Yeah. I'm still good with time. I can't hear my daughter waking up yet. So I'll let you know when that actually happens. But in terms of attracting liquidity, some of these projects did start early, such as Genius Yield and VyFi. They started way back in 2021, maybe late 2021. So yeah, the ICO for VyFi happened back then, so they were already gaining liquidity and providing some utility on their platform. So they've had their NFT staking, they had their token staking, so something there to keep users interested and liquidity moving on their platform already. So if you look on DeFi Llama, they do have a certain amount of TVL locked. I think it's about a third of the size of SundaeSwap at the moment, and that's with no DEX at all. So their approach was to gain some sort of traction well early, well before the DEX actually launched. I think that's a very smart move, and that's the same with Genius Yield as well. So they have a bit of an ecosystem. They had all that ISPO staking. So even before product launch, there's some TVL there. So there is a community, there is interest in their platform. But to really differentiate yourself from, what MinSwap and Wingriders and all that are doing at the moment, you need to bring something new in. So VyFi have that neural so they bring in the AI aspects on optimizing the yields, and that's the same with Genius Yield. So they've got the AI play and yield optimizers to really push and move DeFi in a different direction. So that's where they need to go. Same with Axo, whenever they launch as well, they bring new ideas and concepts into DeFi. So that's what you have to do to actually bring in and attract the liquidity.
Yeah, it's Axo seem to be doing things. That's another one that all I've heard is soon. It's one I'm really looking forward to seeing launch, because it looks like you will get a lot of the features from a centralized exchange. You will have them on a DEX. So looking forward to that one. Haven't heard anything really in the last while on when. Only soon is the only word that I've seen. But on VyFi and Genius Yield, the aggregators definitely could be a big help to them there for coming out. I don't know, when I talked to Genius Yield at the summit, I think, is their aggregators only going to work on their DEX, or will it work across others? I know Stephen said that with VyFi, I think it will work across any assets that's out there, any DEXs, which I think is good. But will Genius be different?
Not that I know of. I have to clarify that information if it will be working across different platforms. But yeah, I can't say with certainty.
Okay. Yeah, I can't fully remember. It just came into my head when you said Genius there. I forgot that their insights into a launch on them, they've been very quiet the last while. Any insights on a testnet or a mainnet?
You're going to hate me for saying it, but yeah, soon. So from Marvin's last update, it's I speculate. I think they're waiting for a better time in the market. So I know a lot of the stuff has already been built, and it's already in the background churning away. They've done an audit as well, and everything else around it. They've got their tooling. Everything's there. I really suspect they're just waiting for a better time to launch on the market to bring in the liquidity. So it's what's the point? What's the point of launching in such a bad bear market and not attracting the liquidity and letting the token price and everything die off? Like, you really want to launch it when things are starting to look brighter and moving forward, so everyone just jumps in all at the same time. You can attract liquidity from other chains and spur on interest that way. So I suspect, my thoughts, it's all around timing and getting that timing right.
Okay. Moving to Alex's comments here about IUSD and JED need to be used outside of DeFi, need businesses to start accepting them. For me, I think JED probably isn't proven enough yet for businesses to actually, would say, when I say businesses, I mean non-crypto businesses, to start really accepting it just yet. And the actual amount of JED in circulation is still small. I think they need to look at something there with Shen to try and incentivize more people to get involved with Shen and to mint Shen. I minted Shen the first day that it launched. I still hold it, but there's no incentives for people really to come in and mint it. If someone says to me, should they mint Shen right now with the current market conditions, I'd be kind of thinking there's not really that many incentives to do it right now. If you were in a really big bull market, then yes, there are some more incentives. If the price of ADA is going up or continuously going up, then yes, there are opportunities. But right now, there isn't that many. So until we get more Shen minted and more sitting in the reserves, I don't think we're going to see enough of ZHED in circulation to really be used. The last time I looked, I think it was $2.5 million worth of ZHED, which it's a decent sum, but it's still very small in the grand scheme. You see some of the bigger traders would be a couple of 100,000 or maybe $1 million or $2 million per trade. So it's still very small amounts. What do you think, Pete?
Yeah, still very small. It's and you do need that again, a bull market and the timing right to really see that one fly, because Shen is just the speculative coin side of things. You can convert it and have your staking and ADA rewards, which I need to check as well. I didn't mint, but I bought some Shen just on the side just to see how it all works. So I have to check on their staking calculator to see how much ADA rewards I get. But it's about trying to get the additional yield from your assets. So it's one, you're converting it into your ADA into Shen. You're still earning your ADA rewards, but then also writing that speculative price on it. So if you're watching and trading, then you can make a little bit of a profit against it, I guess. But at the moment, it's pretty quiet. It's people aren't that hyped about it now, unfortunately. But next bull run we might see something a little bit different.
Yeah, IUSD I forgot to comment on that one, being a synthetic. I'm not sure just yet if businesses will start accepting it. It would be great to see, but if there's other alternatives, maybe they go with them, and synthetics will be more in the DeFi space. I don't fully know. I haven't followed synthetics across other chains to see if stablecoin assets do get utilized outside of the protocol or outside of the actual DeFi ecosystem within that chain. USDA
not
was...
that I've seen.
Yeah, I think synthetics is probably a bit too speculative for businesses to use, but there's definitely some DeFi opportunities coming out, or DeFi strategies coming out now. If you look across what Liqwid Finance are offering with very high APRs for ZHED, you could mint some IUSD, swap the IUSD to ZHED, and then put the ZHED into Liqwid Finance. So your ADA is used to get the IUSD, swap that then for ZHED, and put that into Liqwid. There's risks involved, and I'm not telling anyone they should do this. It's one strategy. There's going to be lots of other ones like that as we get more platforms. And I think when we get ADA Finance and we have even new DEXs coming out with new yield farms and stuff, there's definitely a lot more opportunities coming out there. USDA, I haven't heard of a launch date on that. When I talked to Vineet at the summit last year, Q1 was their target. February was their target. Everything that went on with USDC depegging and the banks and Operation Choke Point, whether it's real or not, I think it is. I don't know if that has impacted timelines there. Don't know if you've heard anything on that. I think it could be the one for businesses would be more attracted to initially anyway, because for traditional businesses, something that is backed one-to-one would be seen as a safer option for them.
Yeah, it's also a centralized stablecoin as well. So there will be those controls and mechanisms, and it will be a lot more suitable for regulated markets. So in terms of which one I'm probably going for, maybe USDA at the moment, my personal preference. But from what I've heard on Twitter, Tyler, a developer from Emergo, mentioned that they're going through auditing at the moment, auditing and penetration tests. So they're just ticking, crossing the T's, dotting the I's, making sure everything is good. They really don't want to launch a half-baked product, and they're just going through over and over and over again, testing it and making sure everything's okay. So it's from my point of view, take your time. If you're at that point where you're testing and you need to make sure everything's good, keep testing. I'd rather a really well-tuned product than releasing something that has some sort of exploit or so people take advantage of it.
Yeah, it's with everything that happened with USDC. It was the most trusted stablecoin out there for a lot of people because it was backed and transparency and everything. But it has highlighted that never put everything into one basket. Like in the stablecoins that I have, they're spread across multiple different assets. I don't have one particular stablecoin that I hold everything in just because of the risk that's out there. For me, I would always split it up across a few different ones, that if the worst case happens, that all of my stablecoins aren't gone just because one asset has failed or one has completely depegged. That's just personal preference. And Alex says about JED and IUSD are both synthetics. And yeah, I suppose I hadn't thought of JED being synthetics as well, but it's based on the price of ADA, or it's set to $1, but it's backed by ADA. So what else have we got in the topics? I think that might have been all of our Cardano topics.
Yeah, just a quick comment on the JED thing as well. I think a lot of people are still have got a sour taste from USDT and algorithmic stablecoins as well. And I know they've been trying to change that naming of the stablecoin, that algorithmic side of things. So I don't want to mention it as an algorithmic stablecoin at the moment, but that's how it was launched, how it was marketed, and a lot of people are still very, very wary about it. Like, I did a video on JED, and there's just comments after comments like, haven't we learnt about algorithmic stablecoins? Why are we even talking about these anymore? So it's still a thing that JED has to battle against to actually get any adoption as well.
Yeah, there was a big push when JED did actually come to launch to try and change the narrative from algorithmic stablecoin to an over-collateralized stablecoin. But you can make the argument for both. And I think as we get extended JED, which I don't know, is a version 1.4 or 5, they're hoping to bring in extended JED, then the algorithmic side becomes a lot more into play then, with dynamic fees and a few other bits that can come in at that point. But it's both. It is over collateralized, and UST, there are a lot of differences, but there are some similarities. But how the two coins are collateralized is very different, and that's where Shen comes into it. Yeah, algorithmic are fine if the collateral is high quality, and I think JED will be fine with the way it is on Cardano, with having to have 4x over collateralization. It's just the Shen holders that are at risk in this. So there needs to be something else for them. I've been getting the airdrops for Shen, for holding the Shen, but it's just slightly above what I would get if I had the ADA just staking myself. And even with the price fluctuating, I think I would get back slightly less ADA now than I used to mint the Shen, must be nearly 2 months ago at this point. So that's where I don't know what they can do. It's not an easy one, but I'd love to see something coming in there. But there's two non-crypto or non-Cardano things to touch on, and then we will close it up. Crypto exchange FTX could reopen, its attorney says, and they recovered, was it 7? It's not at the top of this. I even retweeted something about it, but 7-point-something billion, I think 7.3 billion they've recovered now, and all of a sudden they think they can relaunch the exchange. I don't know how viable something like this is, but it's crazy. Let me see actually what's the price action was down at 130 a few hours ago, and it's sitting at 247 now. It went up to 280 on this announcement, so it's crazy. Would you use FTX? I didn't use FTX before it crashed, but would you use FTX now?
No, not at all. I see this as a big way for anyone that made those losses. They're going to come in and just withdraw all their liquidity out to recover their losses. So, it's relaunching this is a way for people to exit on them. That's the way I see it. So that they relaunch, people get excited, hype into the project again, buy it, and then the people that had made those losses, holding on to FTX before, can just come back in, dump on the market, and reclaim their losses. That's how I see it. So highly risky. I would not touch it again with a 10-foot pole.
No, it's crazy. And there has to be some insiders in here that were very happy to get the price pumped and then just dump their bags on the market. Like, I don't know if it is actually realistic for it to relaunch, or how they would go about that when it's going through the court cases now. I think I've seen something that the European business, they might be allowed to sell off the European business. There was something during the week on that, but I would not go anywhere near it. But when such a big announcement came out just before we went live, I figured we'd mention it anyway and let everyone else do their own due diligence. There is another big event happening today, or has it happened? I can't remember actually what time of the day it's meant to happen at, but the Ethereum, the latest upgrade.
Yeah, well, the date from the timestamp that I can see here from my Telegram chats is April 12th at 2 p.m. UTC. The Chappella upgrade should have happened. A lot of protocols were going into maintenance mode for that particular upgrade. So it should have all passed and happened and all smooth sailing from now. But I haven't heard anything on the contrary to that. So I'm assuming it all went through okay.
Yeah, I didn't see anything about the place burning down or anything like that. But the main point of this upgrade is for withdrawals. That Ethereum, people can now withdraw the Ethereum that potentially they locked up 2 years ago. So there was lots of talk that the price of Ethereum might completely tank with people being able to finally withdraw. I think we could see even a short squeeze on the market and the price of Ethereum to go up from this, in that there's a lot of people going to speculate on the price of Ethereum dropping, but you will have a lot of really big whales over there in Ethereum that have the potential to push now this is my own theory. I haven't traded on this. I'm just watching, very interested from the sidelines, that if they wanted, they could easily push the price high. So if there's a lot of people trying to short the price, you could see a bit of a short squeeze, which could push the price in the short term a lot higher. And they could be looking to sell off there or make some profit. So I'll be watching it for the next 24 hours or so. And even with the withdrawals, it's not like everybody can withdraw today. You have to, I don't have anything locked up in it, so I haven't looked into the process, but you have to request your withdrawals and get into the queue. And it's not as simple as, okay, I want to move my assets today. It could be 2 weeks before you could actually move them.
Yeah, that's right. And just to say everyone's clear, so this is it's a two-part upgrade. Today was the Chappella, and then we got the Shanghai update coming soon as well. But when the Shanghai one is enabled, that's when people can start withdrawing their ETH from those staked on those particular nodes. So it's still a little bit while to go, but this is the first part of that upgrade. But people are speculating against these particular upgrades and seeing where the price is going to move. But a lot of these staking protocol ones, such as what Lido have with the ETH and Rocket Pool and all that, they've been taking a little bit of a price hit because why do you need these synthetics when you can actually have the real stuff moving in and out?
Okay. Yeah, but we had to mention it with the day that's in it. And Alex just says here on FTX, if Chapter 11 lets FTX dollarize all their liabilities, pay out in legal tender, then they may have more assets than liabilities. So potentially they do have and I hope this is the case, that they can at least cover any users that were on the platform, that they will be able to get their funds back. Unfortunately, when legal gets involved, then generally the biggest winner in a lot of these cases, in Chapter 11 cases, is the legal side. Some of the bills that come out are just insane. Like when you look at what the lawyers and the firms all earn from these types of cases, and they eat into a lot of the money that should go back to the users of the platform.
That it's really unfortunate, but yeah, those lawyer bills that rack up. I can't remember the CEO's name, but his hourly rate was astronomical. I really wish I got into that industry, but it would have bored the no, I can't swear. It will bore me to tears. Getting into that kind of thing, but his hourly rate was astronomical.
I think Celsius was the same, and it was someone who was involved in the company then got pushed out when I don't know if they officially went bankrupt or what way they went, but then the lawyers now were trying to hire them back with astronomical fees per hour, and even the lawyers as well. That's another case where the law firms are going to make the most out of it, unfortunately, not the users. I see Blue Collar put something in here. I don't know if that was true or not about Coinbase.
Yeah, well, he works for Virtua, so and I did see a tweet out about it, so it is true if you want to mention it.
Nice, yeah. Virtua Metaverse building not just on Cardano, but I had an interview with someone from the team. That must be a good while ago now. Maybe we can do a catch up at some point, Blue Collar. But he says here about there is a certain Cardano project getting listed on Coinbase. That could be big, especially if they bridge their token to Cardano. And Coinbase tweeted that Virtua TVK token is now slated to be listed. Almost 2-year process now, finally complete. Is that a Cardano native asset, or is that an Ethereum version of the token? I don't know.
I'm assuming it's going to be an Ethereum version of the token, just because I know Coinbase hasn't supported Cardano native tokens yet. I could be wrong, but yeah, it's I believe it's the Ethereum version of it, ERC20.
Oh yeah, he confirms it there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that doesn't make me just as excited when I see that Cardano token be listed, but hopefully it won't be too long until we do see Cardano native assets listed on other exchanges. But yeah, congratulations to Virtua for getting listed. That's a long process to get listed there. Looking forward to seeing what else they bring out. On what did Alex say here? FTX is only liable to the dollarized value of your claim at that time, which was November 22. The market has moved up since then, and the closing price for BTC was 17,000. It's another kick to people if they do only get back 17,000. But I suppose at this point, if they could get back even the dollarized value, then it's better than potentially what it was looking like there for a while with getting nothing back. I would say, anyone questions, final comments, let us know in the chat, and we'll finish up here in the next 2 minutes or so. But Pete, any closing remarks? And thanks very much. I really appreciate your time, especially since we started at 6 a.m. for you.
Yeah. No, it's been a pleasure, Paul. It's been good to finally jump on and talk crypto with you and go through all these really cool news updates. Like I said early on this podcast, absolutely excited for the position DeFi is in on the Cardano blockchain at the moment. So, we're going to see a really good, I believe anyway, a really good surge of adoption and TVL and everything else around it on the Cardano blockchain soon. So it's a really exciting time to be here and actually watch it all happen as well and be a part of it. So I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate your time, and we'll definitely have to do this again. I found since I've started doing the live streams and having more people on, I really like it that it gives different perspectives on different topics and more people get involved in the comments, because I'll be the first to admit I am not right on everything. I'm wrong on lots of things, and I learn from doing these types of podcasts, and I learn from the guests that come on, and hopefully everyone watching gets to learn and also gets to form their own opinions on what they think, because I like to see when people in the comments have a different opinion to me as well. It makes me rethink my position and go over and back. So it's always good. There's no one person knows it all.
Yeah, tell us we're wrong. I get things wrong all the time as well. I get corrected. So, it's always good to learn.
Yep. Every day is a school day in crypto. There's always something new to learn. But look, that's it. Everyone for watching. Thanks very much. Everyone who got involved. Really do appreciate everyone that joined in. If you haven't hit like, make sure you do so. Subscribe if you're new. The link to Pete's channel is in the description as well. Make sure you check that one out, and we will follow up again fairly soon. Hopefully Paddy will have recovered from his man flu by next Wednesday and be able to join me here. If not, I'll be looking for a new co-host. But thanks for watching, guys. Talk to you soon.
Awesome. Bye, everyone.